I have 100 days to tame every single dinosaur in Ark Survival Evolved. You guys absolutely loved the last episode, so here we are with part number 3. To catch you all up, in the last episode, I tamed 30 of 98 dinosaurs, and I made some fortifications to my base. If you've forgotten, the only rule is that if my dinosaur dies, I have to tame another one in order to replace him. Thank you all so much for showing so much support. Now let's get on with the video. To start off day number 11, I went straight into getting all my materials into my fabricator so I could finally make myself that refrigerator. On top of this, I also made some cables and some electrical devices so I could actually power the fridge. After that, I just realized that I actually left my castroids down by the beach. This was my bad, I did it in the last episode, I forgot to bring them back up, but I remembered now, so welcome to the team, my old mate Beaver. Sorry for leaving you out there, buddy. After that, I went out into the forest and started gathering some materials in order to make a heap of stone dinosaur gateways. This is because I had a very good plan in my mind. I was going to trap a Spinosaurus. Now, I've done it this way many times before, but I haven't done it in a long time, so this is really going to be a risky maneuver for me. Before leaving to find a Spino, I quickly made my beaver a saddle, and I also gave him a name. So welcome my friend Titanoboa. As soon as I arrive into the jungle, there he is, level 44 Spino, just sitting there. I did not expect him to be there, and I also didn't expect this guy to be here either. Oh, fuck. I did actually think there was another Spino somewhere else that wasn't in such a dangerous area, so because of this I had a look around, but I couldn't actually find another one, so I ended up just going for this guy. After leading him out to the open, I began making my trap. Basically all it is one gate in front of you and one on either side for the Spino to run in, and then while he's going after your tame, you go in behind him and place the gate there. And in theory, that should trap him in. Leading the Spinosaurus into the trap seemed to work well enough, but it was kind of dodgy trying to get in behind him. This is how it went. Oh my god. Once I knew the Spinosaurus was actually trapped and couldn't get out, I began peppering him full of arrows. Yeah. Let's go. And since I wanted him to tame up quickly, I went further into the forest and found an alpha raptor to kill. And thankfully, he actually gave me an upgraded crossbow, 153% damage. I then loaded all of the prime into the Spino and waited for him to tame up. But then, this guy had to show up. No. Yes, thank you Raptor for lowering my damn Spino's tame. Anyway, as he was taming up, I figured I'd go home and make up a saddle so I could ride him home. And there we go, he's all tamed up. I threw the saddle on him, gave him a new name, and there we go. What a beast. Finally, we got 2 apexes on the team. Let's go. I first test out his strength, kill a few things, get him a few levels, and then I take him home. Line him up next to the Rex, and yes, doesn't he look beautiful? Woo! I then head inside and begin to form a new plan, because I want something else. I want something big, that flies, and that can carry almost anything. A Quetzal. Alright, so I go into my smithy and begin crafting up a few grappling hooks, because I'm gonna need them if I'm gonna actually try and tame this Quetzal. I knew I spotted one in an earlier episode, so I knew there had to be one out there. With all of my grapple hooks and my tranks loaded up, I begin making my way towards the volcano where I saw the Quetzal last. As I'm about halfway to the volcano, I figured I better craft up some parachutes, as I'm definitely gonna need them for this tame. And you know, I might need them somewhere else as well. Who knows? Unfortunately, I couldn't spot the Quetzal where I originally saw it, but I did however see a scorpion and a Baryonyx, so I figured I'd try my luck with them. I first went for the scorpion, shooting him full of tranks, but he didn't want any of it seemed. He just kinda ran away and never came back, so I just sort of left him and moved on to the Baryonyx. I shot at the Baryonyx and then I tried to bowler him, but that's when I found out that you can't actually bowler Baryonyxes. And I also learned that you can't actually pick them up with an RG either. I continued shooting at the Baryonyx, but he kept losing aggro and he was really pissing me off, so I just gave up and moved forward. As I was going down the river, I spotted a Carno, and you know, I thought, I really do actually need a Carno. I've got all these other carnivores, but I don't have a Carno. I tried to clear out some of the raptors and anything else that was dangerous, but the whole area was pretty unsafe anyway, so I just did what I could. Then I just continued parking up my bird and shooting at the Carno until finally he went down. In the end, it only really took about 3 or 4 shots, so this crossbow is definitely worth keeping. I then take to the skies to continue my search for a Quetzal while that Kano tamed up, and that's around about the end of day number 1. To start out day number 2, I begin circling the volcano in the hopes that the Quetzal may have gone around this way. As I'm scouting out, I see a few more scorpions, and I figured since I failed to get the last one, maybe I could get one of these ones. However, I'm not actually very good at pressing keys on the keyboard, as you can see. Guess it's a good thing I made those parachutes, eh? I then resume my mission and continue flying across the map. I was looking at a map of where all the Quetzal spawns were, so I searched those locations in the hopes to find a Quetzal. I ended up making it all the way to the opposite end of the map without finding a Quetzal. I figured the redwoods would be a good place to start looking, so that's where I headed. On the way there, I spotted a tape jar, and I figured this would be the best chance to actually get one. So I pulled up, killed the dangerous things in the area, and I got ready to bowler him. And wouldn't you believe it, first try I landed the bowler. Perfect. So I run down there with my crossbow and begin tranking him, only to have this happen. Oh, fuck off. Of all the places that Phiomia could have ran to lead these damn terrabirds, are you serious? As I was going down the beach, I did see a Pegomastax, and I figured I don't have one of those, so I tamed him up pretty quick and chucked him on my shoulder. I also wanted to grab one of these terrabirds, so I figured, you know what, I'll shoot him, I'll try to give it a go. Why not? And yeah, this is what happened. Bruh. The hell, man? I swear, Ark just hates me sometimes, honestly. Ark really does hate me. While I was getting back some stamina, I did see a Dodicarus on the ground, so I figured I'd bring him with me. He could come help me find a Quetzal. I went up to the main middle mountain in the redwoods, dropped the Dodicarus, and began filling him full of tranks. Eventually he went down, so I loaded him full of berries, and while I waited, I went down into the redwoods to find something else to tame. And to my surprise, there was a scorpion, and I figured, oh, perfect, I've missed my chance 2 times before, 3rd time's a charm, let's give this a go. 1 trank arrow to the back, and he's down. How about that? Chuck some spoiled meat in him, and he is mine. Since I'm taming up 2 dinos, I take it upon myself to actually learn up a cryopod recipe. It's been way too long in the series for me to not have them, so I figured I better learn the recipe and eventually craft them up. I also load up my Arge with some metal while I'm here, because I figured why not. And after that, both my Dodicarus and my Scorpion tame up, so I look at them, choose my favourite, and decide to bring them with me. And that just so happens to be my Dodicarus. Sorry Scorpion, I'll be back for you later. As I'm flying home, I'm keeping a lookout for any sign of Quetzals, but unfortunately there really is none. However, I did find myself a nice big ol' happy alpha T-Rex. Oh fuck. Once home, I drop off the Dodicarus and I look into the crafting recipe for some cryopods to figure out what I need. Turns out I'm going to need oil and I'm also going to need organic polymer, so I head to the snow and fill up on a heap of that. I also try and kill a few mammoths and things on the way so I can get some more pelt, because eventually I want to be able to go into the snow without freezing to death. Unfortunately, all I can craft with the pelt that I had was a helmet, but that will do for now. While I was waiting for my health to recover from freezing, I figured I'll go down to the water and see if I could tame up some ocean dinos. I jumped into the water and spotted myself a nice healthy sized Megalodon, so I began shooting him full of tranks. However, this damn jellyfish thing came after me, and you know, to be honest, I've never actually ran into them before, so I began pumping that full of trank arrows. Luckily, I did actually kill it. I kinda was hoping to knock it out so I could tame it, but this works too. The Megalodon then ran away, so I figured I'd go back to my original task of making cryopods. Thankfully I found myself a supply drop nearby, so I filled it up with all the ingredients and began making some cryopods. I started heading back to where I knocked out that Kano, and I was looking around for Quetzals, but still couldn't find any. However, I did come to find that the Kano had tamed. It's about time we had you on the team. I also learned that you can actually put a torch on the back of your bird. So how about that? That's a new thing. I go into the snow in hopes to find the Quetzal there. While I'm there, I continue killing furry animals so I can get some more pelts in order to make some fur armor. As I'm flying through the snow, I see a mammoth being killed by some direwolves. So I go over and I figured I'll get myself some of that pelt. However, what happened was something I was definitely not expecting. No. Fuck. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know if I was just super lucky there or what, but thankfully I made it out of there without actually taking that much damage. And I think now it's safe to say that it is day 13. I took to the skies and that's when I saw him. A level 64 Giga. Oh yeah boy, you better watch out because I will definitely be back for you. I continued flying around and killing things as well as looking for Quetzals, but still there were none in sight. I figured maybe if I went up higher I might be able to find one, but I actually just ended up running into the sun. So instead, I went over to the redwoods and I cryopotted my scorpion, and then my search for the quits continued. I did land near the swamp and I tried to knock out a Titanoboa, but I later realized that you can't actually tame them this way. I then spotted another Baryonyx down the hill, and I figured I'd give this guy a try. So I basically just kept my distance, fired a few shots, and I eventually lured him over to this hill. But their AI is really annoying, so I just went back down to the beach and shot him there. And finally, with one last shot, he went down. Hey! I went and got him some raw prime fish meat, and once he finally tamed up, I gave him a name and chucked him in a cryopod. And then again, the search for the quits continued. As I was flying over, I did end up spotting some ichthyes in the water, and I figured I'd try and tame them. When I jumped into the water, they surrounded me, so I just tried to tame the lowest level. While I was doing that, I tried to shoot some tranks into some manta rays in the hopes that I would knock one out, but I also realized later on that you can't tame them this way either. And finally, my ichthy tamed up, I gave him a name, and I cryopotted him as well. As I was swimming about, I actually spotted a Megalodon, and I really wanted to get him, so I began filling him full of trank. Thankfully, he was kinda stuck in the shallows, so he was really easy to shoot, and he didn't really swim away that far. And with a few more arrows, he finally went down. While he was taming up, I went out in search of something else to tame. Thankfully, there was a Pelagornis, so I went over, threw a bowler on him, and knocked him out. And while the Pelagornis was taming, I went over to the Megalodon to go and cryopod him and give him a name as well. I am now going to be a master of both the land, skies, and the seas. I then went back to find that my Pelagornis had tamed up, so I also named him and chucked him in a cryopod. And now I only had one cryopod left, and I knew exactly what I wanted to use it on. And so, the hunt for the quits continued. As I was flying over the swamp, I noticed another big tame that I have to eventually check off my list. Oh my god. Not exactly the flying dinosaur I expected to see. Okay, goddamn. Just as I was flying to the red obelisk, and just as I was about to give up hope, there he was. Yes! Oh my god, finally! Just as day number 14 begins, I find the quetzal I've been looking for. I quickly leaped to action. I landed my bird, shot him with one of my grapple hooks, and then I ordered him to follow the quetzal. God, I hope this works. Once my Argy was in the right spot, I fired my first shot. Yeah, boy. And now, the chase was on. This took a while, and I continued shooting this quetzal in the hopes that he would go down. I did end up missing a heap of arrows, but thankfully I did have a lot of spears. This chase was very stressful, as the quetzal just loved to fly over the ocean, and he also loved to fly over the swamp. If he really went unconscious over the water, I was probably gonna quit. Why are you flying so low? There's sharks in the water. By flying in front of the quetzal and then shooting him, I actually managed to get him to turn around quite often, so this was how I controlled where he went. Turn around. And with one last final shot, the quetzal fell. Oh my god, he must be close. Come on. Yes! Yes! Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I quickly gathered up some prime meat, and then I went back to tame the quetzal. As he was taming up, I made sure to get a heap of photos, because goddamn, look at this beast. Beautiful. Very, very nice. Let's go. And after a while of waiting, the beast finally got up. Yeah! Let's go! Yes! After so long searching, I finally got one. I named him Brotzil, chucked him in a cryopod, and figured it was finally time that I headed back home. Once home, I threw out the quetzal and began making up his saddle. I also ended up crafting up some gunpowder, as I did find a simple pistol in a supply drop. After doing some organizing and throwing out my Kano as well, I then began making up some saddles for the dinos I tamed. There we go. My first time ever riding a quetz. Yeah! What a beast. Now I can finally pick up the majority of Ark creatures. Since the quetzal is so massive, I figured he should live on top of the house. That way he kinda overlooks everyone. So I landed him on the roof, and I made a few ladders to get up to him. I then settled up my Kano and put him where he belonged. I then threw out the Baryonyx and placed him next to the other carnivores too. I then threw out my Scorpion, made a saddle for him, and placed him next to the other carnivores. I also made a saddle for my Doedicurus, and I tested out his rolling feature. It may not be that fast, but it's pretty cool. I then took my Therizino outside to get up some narco berries, because I used quite a lot of Trancaros on my mission. Once back inside, I began making up some narcotics, and I also ended up making an industrial grill. I'm sick of using campfires, they're just too slow, and the industrial grills are just more efficient anyway. So I did a bit of organizing, and I made some space for the grill. Next, I threw up my Pelagornis, made him a saddle, and put him next to my other birds. I also loaded up the industrial grill with about 400 pieces of meat, because I wanted to see how much gasoline it would take to cook it. To start day 15, I began making a heap of stone foundations and a heap of stone doorways because I knew I wanted to trap some bigger dinos. And now that I had a Quetzal, I was going to be able to do that. I ended up crafting up 9 stone foundations and also a heap of doorways so I could make my trap. But that's when I realized my Ichthy and my Megalodon don't really have a place to live. I don't really want them living in a cryopod, so I went down to the ocean to find a place to put them. I threw my Megalodon out, but I didn't really feel safe just leaving him there. Any of the creatures in the ocean could come and kill him, so I figured I'd work on making some walls to make the area safer. After spending a long time grinding up the resources to make the dinosaur gateways, I eventually placed the first few in. I figured I'd place the gateways in a way where the tops are still sticking out above the water, and that way no sea creatures can actually swim above them. This just meant that I couldn't really have a deep enclosure for my Megalodon, but he would just have to deal with that. After placing my first few down, I began getting the resources for some more. When I came back to place the other dinosaur gateways, I came to find that they were already working quite well, as another Megalodon was trying to break in. Thankfully, the gateways were there and my Megalodon was safe. So I placed my 10 gateways, and I figured I'd probably need a few more, but so far this is not too bad. So I felt safe enough to throw out my Ichthy. So I placed a few more gateways, and then I went to go get some resources to make a few gates. As I was flying back, I used my spyglass to check on the Megalodon and Ichthy, but I couldn't actually spot the Ichthy. For some reason, he wasn't in the cage. And that's when I get this message. Bruh, what? Yep, this is why I hate Ichthys. I placed my final gateways and then I begin placing all the gates. Now I know for sure that this place is going to be safe and no dolphins are going to be getting out. I then cryopod my quets and then get ready to set up a trap somewhere. However, the fact that my Ichthy died kinda upset me, so I wanted to go find another one first. I spent a while flying over the beaches scouring for them, and eventually I did find some, so I began feeding them and waiting for them to come back. However, I spent a while sitting in that ocean and they never returned. They took my food and left. Absolute dickheads. So instead of waiting around, I continued going down the beach in search of more. Eventually I found another couple, and so I landed and began feeding them as well. There was one low level and one high level, and I figured I'd quickly get the low level because I didn't really want to waste too much time on this. However, my guy clearly had some other plans. Oh my god, you fucking idiot. So instead I just went for the level 72. He was taking a while to tame up with just the regular raw fish meat, so I went to go kill a Megalodon to get some of that prime meat. This did the trick and he tamed up in no time. Welcome Brachiosaurus II. With them all tamed up, I began heading home so I could put him in his new enclosure. And there we go. Please don't die this time. I then flew up to my base and admired all the dinosaurs that I'd tamed. Looking back, I actually tamed quite a fair few dinos in just these 5 days, so I was pretty happy. However, that's about it for day number 15. Anyway guys, like I said, you absolutely loved the last part and you showed me a heap of support for it, so thank you so much for that. If you guys are ready for day 16 to 20, let me know by smashing that like button, leaving it in the comments, also hit that subscribe please, eh? And yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!